So, good evening, everyone. Welcome to the grand finale of our Education Reimagined Transforming Teaching and Learning series. Over the past sessions, we have explored bold ideas and fresh perspectives. And today, we bring it all together in our final discussion. Congratulations on being part of this journey. Today's session is perhaps the most future forward of them all, leveraging ChatGPT and AI tools to transform education. Now, if you told a teacher 10 years ago that somebody they would be co teaching with a chatbot that never sleeps, never loses its voice, or always has a polite tone, they might have asked you if you were writing a sci fi novel. But here we are. This whole series has been made possible thanks to the incredible partnership between us, Skills Reform, and Rosedale High School, Canada. Skills Reform is on the mission to bridge the skills gap, not only with the intentions, but with AI powered assessments, expert mentorship that help students not just survive, but thrive in the real world, and the future ready training content for teachers and school leaders. And at Rosedale Education Canada, they are redefining global learning with the Ontario Secondary School Diploma, now in over 95 schools over across 17 countries, with 70% of grads landing into global top 100 universities. Now, on to AI in the classroom. Let's be clear, it's not here to replace teachers. What we checked, it can't supervise a noisy classroom or lunchroom. Knowing so many students individually and grade a mountain of essays overnight, or settle a heated debate over who cut the line. But it can enhance learning, boost creativity, and personalize learning so every student feels seen, challenged, and supported. We are only scratching the surface of what's possible. And today, we'll dig a little deeper. And to help us navigate these big ish questions, we have an absolutely stellar lineup of panelists joining us today. Ms. Erin from University of Waterloo, Mr. Ayush Periwal from Jayshree Periwal Group of Schools, Mr. A.P. Sharma from Presidency Group of Schools, Mr. Ronit Bhat, Children's Academy Group of Schools, Ms. Jacquie from Rosedale Global High School, with our moderator, the one and only awesome Asim, and a big shout out to Ms. Achal Chopra from LinkedIn joining us for a keynote. Also, a heartfelt thanks to Mr. Ravi from Rosedale and my amazing partner, Dr. Chetna. So let's stay engaged as we delve into how AI is not just transforming education, but reshaping the very possibilities of what we can achieve in the classroom. Let's get started. Asim, over to you.
That's great. Thank you so much, Aitan. Good evening, everyone, and welcome. Welcome to our third and final panel discussion of the series on leveraging ChatGPT and AI tools to transform education. My name is Asim Sayed, and I serve as the head of teacher development at Rosedale Global High School. Rosedale Global High School is a leading practitioner and solution provider and is scaling the delivery of global K-12 differentiated education. I'm honored to be your moderator for today's discussion. We are at a pivotal moment in education where artificial intelligence tools like ChatGPT or DeepL are not just adds-on, but potential catalysts, as Chetan mentioned, for redefining how we teach, how students learn, and how we prepare the next generation for a rapidly evolving world. And again, as Chetan mentioned, that it used to be part of the domain of the science fiction. At least I remember growing up and watching these things in these things as science fiction, as movie. But now it's turning into more as shaping lesson plans, transforming feedback loops, and enabling deeply personalized learning journeys in real time. We are joined here today by a panel of dedicated educators and experts who will help us look into possibilities and challenges of AI enhanced classrooms. So, in today's conversation, we will explore how AI tools can support personalized learning, boost student engagement, and unlock creativity in new and unexpected ways. Examine best practices for integrating these technologies ethically and in alignment with academic integrity, and consider that how the role of the educator is evolving in a world where AI is not a threat, but a powerful collaborator. This isn't about replacing teachers. It's about re-imaging education by rethinking curriculum design, assessment, and professional development to position AI as a meaningful tool for empowerment. I'm excited here. I'm very excited today to hear all these insights from our panelists, and I encourage all of you to engage with the discussion using the chat or Q&A function. I would like to invite each of our panelists to introduce themselves. Please kindly share your name, title, and a little about your background and experience related to today's topic. So I will just go through my screen, which I can see on my end. Let's start with Erin.
Great. Thank you. And good evening, everyone. My name is Erin Jobidon. I am coming to you from the University of Waterloo. And I'm in the role of Senior Manager Work Integrated Learning Curriculum in our Cooperative and Experiential Education Department. And so my tie-in to this exciting topic today is that I lead a team of educational developers and media developers who are creating skills development opportunities for our students who are on their cooperative education placements, all in preparation for their future careers and the future of work. And leveraging Gen AI in the work that we're doing is really one of the ways that we're helping prepare our students for the realities of the workplace in the future and currently as well. So I've been leading a strategy in our office for the integration of AI and Gen AI across our curriculum.
Thank you so much, Erin. The next person I can see in my list is AP.
Yeah, and thanks, Mr. Asim. So I'm AP Sharma, the director of Presidency's group of schools. And the topic is very close to my heart. Just 2 months back in Gurgaon, there was actually a seminar in which more than, I think, 250 principals from 25 countries participated. And I was keynote speaker on the same topic. And the most important thing is that I'm trying to integrate and trying to convince teachers that remember, the natural intelligence is always better than the artificial intelligence. So always the reins are in your hand and you will drive the vehicle. You will drive everyone in the classroom. So trying so many things in the school, and before that in Punjab Education Board, I was head of curriculum development and also the examination reforms, etc. Was trying to get AI into it in such a way so that it doesn't look like a challenge for teachers.
That's great. Thank you so much, AP. The next one I can see in my list is Ronit.
Thank you, Asim. Good evening, everyone, or good morning to some of you in Canada. I'm the Group Communication Head at Children's Academy Group of Schools. I look into the technology upgradation and implementation over the group of schools. This includes, of course, AI tools and any other tools that we may require for curriculum development or for lesson planning or anything else for that matter. As the IBCP coordinator, I also look into the implementation of the IB at Children's Academy International School. In the IB, my responsibility is to ensure that my students don't get caught for plagiarism. Because let's be honest, they are using AI, whether you want to believe it or not, and a lot of them don't know the right way to use AI critically. So that's one thing that I'll be saying again and again: the use of AI critically. Thinking about your usage of it and just using it for ease's sake. So yeah, a pleasure to be here.
Thank you so much, Ronit. Last but not the least, Jacquie.
There we go. Thank you. So yes, I've been privileged to work with Esteemed. I just wanted to say, Erin, I graduated from the University of Waterloo in the Cooperative Education Department. So I'm very familiar with the importance of work integrated learning is. Yeah, so I've been involved in education in Ontario for over 43 years. And the last 5 years have been working with Rosedale as a teacher development specialist. And that's a very exciting role to be in, working with the development of teachers and their instructional strategies. And I have been involved as a guidance counselor, career educator, Ministry of Education, helping teachers and providing professional development and providing classroom teachers with the skills to improve student comprehension and understanding. And it's been a great privilege to do that work. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Jacquie. Chetan, to you.
Thank you so much, Asim. So today we are honored to have Ms. Aanchal Chopra, Regional Head at LinkedIn, as our keynote speaker. A visionary leader in bringing education and industry, she brings invaluable insights into the power of technology in shaping the future of learning and collaboration. Ms. Aanchal Chopra leads the academic and government business in North India with a focus on fostering strategic relationships. She collaborates with educational institutions and government entities to integrate LinkedIn's innovative technology and insights. Known for her expertise in active listening, Ms. Chopra excels in delivering tailored solutions that enhance students' outcomes and build strong industry partnerships. Welcome, Ms. Achal. The stage is now yours. We are delighted to hear your insights on today's topic and look forward to your expertise in guiding us through this important discussion.
Wow, thank you, Chetan. Thank you so very much for having me here. And good morning to all who have joined from Canada, and good evening to all our fellows here in India. So good to be here. And I'm good to see Erin, Jacquie, Ronit, AP. The way we are really talking about AI curriculum, integrating AI in our curriculums. How GPT can be embedded. In my role, in fact. Just going to highlight what I do here at LinkedIn. And I think this is where I'm going to spend some time so that, in today's discussion, I talk about that, hey, how LinkedIn is helping higher education institutes, K-12 schools here in India to implement technology to create better student outcomes. So what I do here at LinkedIn in my role, I talk about the importance of having AI in schools. And I think in India, we are still there is mile to go and conquer a lot of things because it's very basic that we are doing at the moment. So what I really going to talk about, from LinkedIn's perspective, and this is where for every education institutes to kind of look and appreciate where the world of work is actually going. And sooner or later, we really have to implement and embed changes in our curriculum, changes in our school pedagogy. So I just want to kind of start with very basic, how as LinkedIn, when we look at data, the way we look at world of work, there are going to be 170 million new jobs which are going to be created in next 5 years, and 92 million jobs are going to be displaced. And this displacement would actually come for new technology related roles like big data specialist, fintech engineers, AI and machine learning specialist, software application developers. In fact, I'm also reading out here, and this is something which is very, very important to know. In India, specifically, the market is set to grow with respect to new these job roles by 9%. There are a lot of global capability centers which are coming. That means these new skills we need to have to prepare our students for these newer job roles. And in fact, what AI and technology is doing for every role, either it is disturbing or disrupting the skill set or augmenting the job roles, or there are some roles which are insulated. So again, from a perspective that in future when our students will go in any field, in any industry, be it a technology or a financial services or manufacturing, there are going to be good percentage of skills which are going to be disrupted. But that brings to a question also to everyone: do I need to be scared for that? Do I need to really be worried? Answer is no. And I think to all educationists, just wanted to kind of highlight that, hey, we have really seen this before as well. When we had World Wide Web from 95 to 2007, we had digital convergence from 2008 to 2021. And now we are talking about AI in education. So yes, first context, world of work is changing. So as and that's why our pedagogy needs to be changed. And that needs more of augmented skills, more of human skills. It is important. Now, again, from an educational perspective, and just wanted to kind of put it from a viewpoint that in education there are three set of stakeholders. We have leaders, we have actually educators, and then we have students as well. So we are talking about AI from a perspective of a leader. A good point for a leader is for a school management is, when you implement AI in your education, you're going to see a lot of operational efficiencies improvement. For an educator, you can do a lot of lesson planning. You really can actually look at, again, newer ways to implement learning, and doing a flipped classroom. Again, for a student, there are various ways to implement and understand newer skills. We know about concerns as well. Plagiarism we talked about, over dependence we talked about, ethics. That is something also which is very, very important, which needs to be kind of taught when we are doing or introducing AI in our schools. So what does it mean? And that's where I'm going to conclude. So it is important. We need to implement it. We need to look at AI from each and every stakeholder's point of view, and where we can really look at, three things which are very, very important, which is teach for AI, teach about AI, and teach with AI. I think these are the three important things which I would really like to highlight. When I say teach for AI, that means early preparation is very important. We need to really talk about future ready skills, future ready workforce, realigning, reskilling our education basis the changing job environment. Teach about AI, talk about AI literacy, ethics, how can you really spot what is correct, what is not correct. And when you talk about teach with AI, I think the idea is in your classrooms, we are talking about AI. We are doing some lesson planning, through AI. So that's the perspective. I'm cognizant of my time, but just wanted to kind of build the entire scheme of things. It is important. AI is going to stay. We need to be looking at AI from each and every stakeholder's point of view. And then don't run away from it. Understand where it is creating an impact, and build your tools internally. So over to you, Asim. I think just wanted to kind of set the perspective. I think this is what we are discussing today, and I'm sure each one of you here doing this.
Thanks, Achal. Thank you
That's
so
great.
much.
Thank you so much, Ms. Sancho, for setting the stage with such thoughtful and inspiring insights. And I think that for me, the main key takeaway was when you mentioned about the three parts of teach about AI, teach for AI, and teach with AI. And I think that that's what we will be focused on in today's discussion. So thank you so much. On behalf of everyone here, thank you once again for sharing your time, wisdom, and vision with us. So let's begin our discussion with one of the most promising shifts we are seeing in classrooms today: the way AI is enabling more responsive, personalized, and creative learning experiences. AI tools can offer students real-time support, multiple ways to access and explore content, and opportunities to express their ideas in richer, more flexible formats. So when it is thoughtfully designed or thoughtfully used, AI has the potential to empower learners to take greater ownership of their learning, challenge themselves creatively, and stay engaged in meaningful ways. These possibilities signal a shift away from rigid, standardized instructions toward more adaptive and inclusive models. So, Erin, I would like to start with you. We would like to hear your thoughts on this question: that how can AI tools like ChatGPT support the development of curriculum and instructional content that is more responsive, diverse, and adaptable? And what what considerations should educators keep in mind to ensure that AI-generated materials align with learning objectives and curricular coherence?
Great, thank you. I think it's important to start with the alignment element, because without good alignment to learning outcomes, you risk losing the impact in integrating technology like AI. So, I think this is just a simple mindset of, similar to any ed technology that you're integrating into the classroom, being mindful that you're not adding it as a gimmick, and that it is very clearly, purposefully aligned to the outcomes that you're hoping your students will achieve. I think one of the ways we are doing this at Waterloo is in a course on responsible computing that our students are taking while they're on their co-op terms. We have aligned the use of GenAI to supplement and serve the students research around intellectual property. So they're given dense documents that I think a lot of people in everyday society tend to sort of gloss over, like user agreements, right? Those really long documents, and they're enabled to use AI to navigate to find key components of those agreements and those documents, and then answer questions about it. And I think finding really authentic, meaningful, connected opportunities for students to use AI in powerful ways like that are also duplicating as opportunities for data and information literacy development are really essential. So that's the alignment piece. And then I love the opportunity that AI creates around responsive and diverse learning opportunities. And I think, the level of customization that is now available is really exciting. And one of the ways that we've been doing that is through the integration of a tool that allows students to upload their resume, identify the skills they're interested in developing, and choose jobs of interest to them. And it creates an interactive simulated interview experience that they can where they can practice their interview skills in a psychologically safe space. And the tool is giving them live feedback so they can immediately adjust their skills. And we've seen a dramatic increase in our students' engagement and assessment submission around the assignment that is related to this module. So that's a really exciting change, because it's adaptable, it is meeting them where they are. And the last thing I'll say is around the diversity part. And I think that's another really important part of helping us diversify our curriculum, our content, bringing in additional perspectives and examples into the content that we're creating. And GenAI can help instructors to do that, and educators to do that, of course, with a mind to avoid integrating stereotypes. And so, I know part of the conversation today will be around, how are we supporting and training our educators, and that's a big part of this as well.
That's great. Thank you so much, Erin. The next question is for Anand. And I think that we will keep the same scope in terms of the development. So in what ways can AI tools help students build greater metacognitive awareness of how they learn best? And how might this shape more personalized pathways for skills development, goal setting, and even reflection?
Yeah, thank you, Ms. Rasim. So it's very interesting. Today in the morning assembly, I was talking to my students. And then after that, we were talking about what is expensive, how Sensex is going and all that. So after that, one child came to me of class 8 and said, "Sir, what is the most expensive thing in this world right now?" And I replied, "It's time." So wherever you can save time and where you can utilize time the best, that is the most expensive thing. And here, when we talk about students, I told students whenever we talk about AI, and I must tell you that NCRT in India is doing a great job. At foundation level, they have started Jadui Pitara, means magical box. And in that, they can create, teachers can create their poem, children can create their poem, and those poems are very individualistic and personalized kind of thing. Parents can find the answers. All that is there, and even there are certain kind of uh, message is where you put it. I told the students most important thing is this, that how you put up and how you can make the best use of AI. When we talk about the Windows, when we talk about Windows AI, DOZ, Windows, and then Semantic Scholar, all these things are there just to make you more inquisitive. Please remember that not everything is on the Google and not every answer can be given by AI. This means there is always a there is always a scope to do much better and to make it foundation. This is not ultimate. And when children understand that, they really become a little bit better than consuming time in a best way and using ChatGPT, using Semantic Scholar, or maybe the Chat PDF, all those kind of tools to get into a mindset where the mindset is becoming a research mindset, and they are trying to find the research ways. Second thing is, this is very friendly and they can have their own time, they can have their pace of learning, and the most important is they can decide when to learn and how to learn. And that's also, I told them that remember, whatever you put in a mixie or a juicer, whatever is input will be output. So you should be very intelligent, you should be precise, you should be very clear enough what kind of command you are giving to ChatGPT, and you will get the adequate answer. A simple mistake or a simple missing link can lead to you a wrong information or the information which is not useful for you. When we talk about the students metacognition, yes, there is a little bit problem. The problem is that metacognition says that yes, we have to experience, but here we talk about only augmented reality or virtual reality, virtual tours, augmented tours, but that give them that excitement to get into the real world. I take it as a positive. I take it a positive in that way, and then they try to experiment. Then they try to finalize and they try to prepare some prototypes, maybe the physical prototypes, and they try to work on certain kind of things. The most important is that they are saving time. And when they save time and they think that one friend they have from whom they can ask anything and probable answer is there, not just calling their teacher, math teacher or science teacher about a problem to be solved. Yes, so students are getting into it, and if we say that it's not a threat, then we will try to become friend, and we become friendly to AI very early and in a rapid way. But if we think it's a threat, you know, if somebody is telling that Mr. Asim is dangerous, and then he's having a problem that very early get excited and then irritated around, then whenever I will meet, I will have many inhibitions that, oh, I should be very careful. So we need to project AI as friend, and when we project it as AI friend, children will take it, teachers will take it. I told teachers that they see you can't be replaced, and children will always ask you for the help with the remediation, all kind of things. So you think that this is a tool which can empower you and which can take you beyond Google, which can take you beyond books, and which can spread and really the spread the horizon. That is it. So my basic thing or the ultimate message is that yes, consider AI your friend.
That's great. Thank you so much, AP. And I like the way that it's you put that it's your friend, the friend that who can help and assist, but do not do the work for you, do not do the thinking for you. Let's hear from you, Jacquie. What's your perspective on this?
Well, I think that what's really important is we see that AI doesn't replace a teacher, that the teacher has to be there to help the student to review and do the formative feedback, as we emphasize in the Rosedale curriculum for the teacher development, is that formative feedback, helping the student to review what AI has given them and how it integrates into what they need for their assignment. So not to avoid AI, but to integrate it right into the curriculum and the teaching. And as Erin said, you know, how does it support the the teaching with a curriculum, the personalized learning that we emphasize for the teacher development. And so it's really shows the importance of how that teacher in the classroom teaches about AI, helps the students understand AI, and provides that formative feedback on what has been developed through the AI exposure. And I think that that's what the important thing is too, is reflecting the future. These are going to be tools that the students need in their future development. As our keynote speaker said, it talks about the future of work and what it looks like. So it becomes really important that the students take that and develop the skills, develop what they need to learn, and reflect on what they have done. Thank you.
That's great. Thank you so much, Jacquie. So I think that it's from this part of the section which we just started. It's clearly visible that like it's tools like again ChatGPT can play a big role in terms of shaping curriculum and instructional content, as Erin mentioned, as Erin highlighted, and it can enhance creativity and efficiency in terms of content creation, but also as AP was talking about in terms of the delivery, that it's in terms of the students, what students' role is in terms of using this as a tool. And of course, Jacquie also brought it up in terms of the that how the awareness has to be done and how we can support our students. Our next part is focus on ethical considerations and best practices. So now we already talked about it, that how the tool looks like, how these tools can help. But of course, that AI is becoming more accessible in schools, and the focus is shifting on how we integrate it, ensuring that it's aligned with meaningful learning outcomes. So the use of AI in education brings with it a set of ethical challenges that schools are just beginning to see. It's about ensuring that AI doesn't become a shortcut or a distraction, but it turns out to be a support system that strengthens thinking, problem solving, and communication. So the question is no longer whether that AI belongs in the classroom, but how we embed it meaningfully without compromising the core values of good teaching and learning. So the first question for the panelists for this section is that what are the most pressing concerns you have encountered around ethical use, such as plagiarism, fairness, or even privacy? And how are you or your school proactively addressing these concerns through policies and classroom conversations? What's your take on this, Ronit?
Thank you, Asim. So plagiarism, I think we picked upon that already, is one of the major concerns since ChatGPT come out, or since AI has become. So I don't know how many of so earlier we used to give away written research projects. We get our students to write their research projects, give a citation, cite their sources, so on and so forth. And we felt like we did our due diligence just because the children wrote their sources. Now, I don't know how many of you have used Google Gemini's deep research section. You get a completely researched project with sources cited all on one page with just one sentence typed by the student. So it's not as easy as it used to be for us. Uh, but for me, the concern isn't just cheating or plagiarism. For me, it's, are the students actually developing any skills at all? Right? Whether it's the content related skills or whether it's critical thinking skills or writing skills or research skills, that's what I'm worried about. Um, I had a orientation last week. I had a couple of students ask me that you're asking us to make a presentation. If I just use Gamma to make a presentation, you know, is that okay? And I said, it's okay, but don't expect to use Gamma and not have me ask you more questions about your topic. That's my key concern. I know my students are going to use AI, but I feel like as a teacher, it's our responsibility to ensure we ask them relevant questions about that particular research and ensure that they have really done the work required and done the research required to get to where they are. So for me, the focus is shifting more towards the ethical use of AI. in the classroom. And the number one method that we found works is just having an honest conversation. Teachers having an honest conversation with the student is perhaps the greatest way that the students are made aware of the right way to use AI. So I'm very openly telling them that use AI for brainstorming. Again, don't tell it to give you ideas, but discuss ideas with AI. Have a back and forth with it. Help it outline your essay better. My children are horrible at outlining. I don't know how many else feel the same way, but that's generally the truth there. Grammar is something that it can help with, especially with second language, third language being English, as opposed to an entirely AI generated work being submitted. I given them the real life examples of where AI has failed, or to help students understand that AI is a technology that is failable. It is something that can fail. A couple of lawyers got disbarred last year, if I remember correctly, because they cited an AI generated a case which didn't exist. I did a very simple experiment. I wrote on ChatGPT, summarize the case study on creatine written by Ronit Bhat. And it gave a wonderful summary of a case study on creatine written by Ronit Bhat. The only problem is Ronit Bhat has not written a case study on creatine. So that experiment showed children that, oh, AI will just give me whatever I want it to give me. I need to do the deeper research. I need to really get into, really get into understanding what is real and what isn't. That is that honest conversation, I think, is the number one route to ensuring that we don't fall prey to plagiarism. You mentioned another topic that was about data privacy. Indian schools in particular need to be very wary of data privacy. The DPDP Act, the Digital Personal Data Protection Act, came out just recently last year. It's the implications of which aren't extremely clear in schools yet, but I've heard of teachers uploading student work to AI, for to help with grading, but they don't understand the implications when it comes to privacy. So that's something that school leaders here especially need to take very seriously. So yeah, there are a lot of implications. I think the conversation needs to take place between management and teachers, between teachers and students, and there needs to be a AI policy in place as soon as humanly possible for every school is present here. Thank you.
That's great. Thank you so much, Ronit, for that. And I fully agree with you on that. I think that transparency, we need to have that transparency and we need to have that open conversation. I remember my high school when in late 1990s, when internet came into the picture. Um, that's what we needed at that time. That is, we were thinking, my teachers were thinking that there will not be any need for walking into the library. Libraries will be eliminated or will be obsolete. But here we are today, that because of that technology, because of that internet, we are having this conversation, having this panel discussion. Thank you so much. Next question in this category is, what practical strategies, models, or classroom routines have you found most effective for integrating AI tools in a way that supports student learning, encourages responsible use, and aligns with a strong instructional design? So for this question, let's begin with AP. We would like to hear your thoughts on this.
Thank you. So after a complete cycle of thoughts, the few things comes in mind is that it's very important that we tell children what is the purpose of AI. And when we tell that the purpose of AI is to give you an idea, basically it's planning so that you can do a mental scripting. You can do a positive self-talk. You can start questioning yourself and then coming to it with a perspective that we want to learn. Not only we want to find the answer only. If you want to find the answer, you will never learn. You will only learn that how to put something into ChatGPT and find the answer. Here comes the ethical issues about with Mr. Ronit was also talking, and even Erin talked about that. Is that teachers has to devise a system and very honestly that how they can make it how they can make it democratically being used, And you will be surprised that there are different boards in India as well as abroad who said that ChatGPT answers are not allowed. Now they means that ChatGPT will give an answer which is out of the box, and out of the box is thinking out of the box is not allowed. Very interesting. So thinking out of the box is allowed, but please remember that even ChatGPT is a box which will give you prescribed answers which has been collected by different people and which has been prescribed or printed or shared on internet by here and there. And sometimes they can confuse you, and sometimes while confusing you have to find out the solution and validity. As again I will quote, Ronit was asking about certain kind of cases where the cases were not at all there, but yes, maybe this is not verified. So legitimately verified and not verified, there is a difference. And that's why the sometimes when children are asking certain questions and we give them any essay to write, we will find that same essay, and children asked me once that, sir, one essay was given and five of us put some kind of the essay's name, but we found six different outputs. What does that mean? Which one is the best? And we did the same word to word and letter to letter, completely uniform. This means every time randomly whatever is being picked up is the best that time, and after 1 second it may change. This means this is all self-thinking and putting you on a way, putting you on a route where you can start thinking and when you can analyze. Now, in whole thing, uh, what we discuss and what we want to communicate to the teachers and students is that this is a tool which will give you an opportunity to self-thinking, which will provide you many spices. You have to prepare the dish out of it. Don't consider that itself, this itself is a dish. Like Jacquie was telling about that, yes, self-learning is happening. Now self-learning is happening when you think that we want to learn. If you think that you want to learn only that how to use chat gpt precisely to get the best answer, that is a skill, that is not learning. Now skill and learning, both the things are different. When we are thinking of skills, then we have to get into the arena, we have to get into the stadium, we have to get into the field to understand that whatever has been devised, whatever has been given by the chat gpt or whatever has been prescribed by the chat gpt. But remember, not every time it is very correct. You would have noticed sometimes googling, you want to go from one place to another place, but this map is taking you to one place. There was an incident in India that the route was shown in such a way, there was a bridge, but just 50 minutes before that bridge was collapsed and the guy got into river. So everything is being everything is being monitored, everything is being advanced. uh, Actually, I could not understand, could not listen the last part of that. So please, my apologies. So I'm trying to generalize it towards end. That while using ChatGPT, everybody should be self-conscious that why you are using. Are you trying to find the answer, or you want to learn from this answer to proceed further and thinking out of the box, whatever material is available? Yes, for data analysis and all, it's very useful. Thank you.
Thank you so much, AP. No, I agree with you on that for sure in that perspective. Thinking outside the box, I think that we cannot rely on ChatGPT, and I think that if I remember correctly, I read it somewhere that is, it will come to a point that where ChatGPT will be outputting the data which you want to hear, because we are feeding the information in a way to the system that that all the information which is coming out is going to be biased. And of course, that the way we want to hear. And it may come out that I wrote a PhD paper as well. So,
No,
so
yeah,
keep an eye on that. Yeah.
it's a very lovely servant which will make you happy every time, whether it's
Yeah,
correct or not.
exactly. That's great. Thank you so much, AP. Erin, as part of course, University of Waterloo, how would you like to weigh in on this?
Sure. I think what really stands out to me is actually our keynote's message about for, with, and about AI. That really resonates and reflects our approach, I would say, in a beautiful way. So one of the key ways that we've approached ensuring our students are set up for success when using AI and understanding Gen AI has been sort of a three-pronged approach. So we started by really defining our policy. What is our stance on the integration and use of AI? And I imagine this will come up in future questions as well. But we've really taken a cautiously optimistic approach to AI, in that we are encouraging our students to use it, but within particular expectations. And so we've been intentional about articulating what those expectations are very clearly for our students, so that they have that sort of box to work within in a good way. And so that has included for us parameters around, your submissions, regardless of written or otherwise, need to maintain your own authentic voice. There's an expectation that you're never submitting something that is a direct output from Gen AI. There's always that critical analysis on it. There has to be citation and there has to be documented use. And so I think, by laying those out clearly and integrating into those aspects into all of our assignments, we're helping students to develop their own habits around the best practices of use with Gen AI. And linking to resources that can help them. So, our library and our writing center have great resources around citation practices. So we are directly connecting students to those resources as well. The next phase of this work was teaching about AI. So, in order for students to use it in the best way possible, they have to, at least at a baseline level, understand what it's doing, how it's working, what the challenges are. And so we've created a module on responsible use of AI that talks about, some of the challenges around AI, like privacy, bias, environmental impact, and some principles that they can consider as they move forward in using AI and Gen AI to keep those challenges in mind in the best way possible. And then from there, we have built Gen AI authentically into our assignment. So we set really clear foundations for students before we're asking them to engage with it. And I think, we're constantly linking back to those expectations, the policies when we're asking students, so that they're really building this new set of habits into their workflows and their studies. Another thing that comes to mind is providing options. So when we're thinking about, the instructional design and designing a good student experience as well, is providing options for students. So, every time we're designing with AI or with an ed tech tool in general, we're designing an alternative. And that is largely to meet accessibility needs and in proactive preparation to meet diverse student accommodation needs. And it's early days as students are still navigating their comfort levels with using AI tools. That's been an important approach for us. And then the last thing I'll mention around instructional design is just building time into the course plan for students to become familiar with new tools, how to navigate them, what it means to move around, to create outputs, to work with them, so that we're and introducing it early to reduce that cognitive load when students are engaging in the course materials, that they're not also faced with the burden of navigating this new technology. I would say those are sort of the three things that come to mind for me.
That's great. Thank you so much, Erin. So yes, of course, that it's pretty clear from our panelists that AI offers immense potential. It also demands thoughtful policies, ongoing classroom dialogue, have that open conversation, and have a proactive approach to digital citizenship. And most of the schools are addressing it. They have started addressing these challenges, and they are bringing more clear guidelines. And they are creating a foundation, as Erin mentioned at Waterloo, for a culture of trust and have the accountability from student side. I think that as a moderator, I think that what I will bring to it, that I think is more about, again, setting the ground, setting the guidelines for the students, and of course that is, as Erin mentioned, that set it earlier in the stage, because I think that is, if we wait for it, not to explain to our students how to use the tools. It becomes more as a part of the shortcut instead of for a student to take instead of learning that how to use the tools. I was reading about that as well as it is in some of the schools have started creating the assignments and the evaluations around the use of these tools. So what it is that the students are expected to submit the prompts that the prompts which they have created, which they are using on ChatGPT or deep learning, and that becomes prompts. Creating those prompts are part of the critical thinking. That how are you going to ask this system to address, or this tool to address what you are looking for? How you're going to brainstorm that information before you start analyzing and producing your own reflection. Thank you so much, everyone. So we're moving on to our last discussion question on so we have talked about the two segments, and I think that the last one is about the evolving role of educators and professional learning. As we all know that AI is rapidly changing the landscape of teaching, not by replacing educators, but by transforming how they work, what they focus on, and how they support student learning. So as AI takes on more of the repetitive or procedural tasks, educators are freed up to focus on complex tasks like instructional design, deeper feedback, have human connection and learning that builds on student learning outcomes. But for this shift to succeed, educators need more than access to tools. They need time, they need training, and trust to explore, reflect, and build new professional competencies. So for this question, let's begin with Ronit. We would like to hear your thoughts on that what are some effective ways schools, even organizations can invest in educator growth, not just through technical training on AI tools, but through deeper development that helps teachers reflect on pedagogy, redefine their practice, and feel empowered in this evolving landscapes. So what are your thoughts?
Thank you, Asim. So, okay, so the one big thing I want to talk to all schools about who are part of this panel discussion is to make sure that you have time set aside for professional development. This isn't just I know schools who do 1 week of training in a year, all at the beginning of the school year. Some do it at the end of the school year, what I mean is a more regular scheduled time for professional development, targeted professional development for teachers, and also time for group discussions with their peers, whether from within their own school or from other schools as well. I feel like that's an invaluable resource that many schools don't get the full benefit of. Children's Academy, we do one training Saturday for targeted development weekly, and we have smaller teacher groups who meet again on a weekly basis to learn from each other and to develop their skills. Now, when it comes to AI skill development, okay, so well, another big issue that I noticed is that there's too much focus on platforms. So 1 week there'll be a skill a workshop on ChatGPT. The other week there'll be a skill development program on Canva. There'll be Adobe. There'll be Google Gemini. There'll be 52 weeks and 52 different programs that the teachers are introduced to. And when you do a review at the end of it, you find that they're using none of them. It's like a really widespread buffet. Like you get confused. What do I use? So what's more important is for the school to decide on an area of focus that they want to focus upon. Now, this could be on a bi-yearly basis, it could be on an annual basis. So Children's Academy, so 2 years ago, we decided that we want to focus more on skill development. We want our children to develop more communication skills, critical thinking skills, the 6 C's that we talk about. So what we trained our teachers on was how to use AI to come up with activities, to come up with assessments that help students grow in that particular direction. And again, you can't do everything at once. You can't decide that, all right, this year we're going to bring in skill development into our lesson plans. We're also going to bring in ATLs. We're going to bring in ATTs. We'll also change all of our assessment. It's just not humanly possible. We have 45 minutes in the classroom. Doing everything all at once is not possible. So what we try to do is that we find an area of focus. We train our teachers to develop lesson plans uh, or assessments based on that particular area of focus, and then we start guiding them throughout. And again, a review, reflection is a very important part of this progress, where you have again, transparency is what we've been talking about, an honest discussion with your teachers about what has worked, what hasn't worked, what could be done better, and then reworking based on the feedback that we get. So that's something that we found has really helped, having an area of focus and then developing throughout that, because the possibilities are endless. I gave you the example of skill development in the classroom, but we've also done assessment changes now. Assessment in the classroom doesn't necessarily have to be in the form of MCQs or uh, even longer form question answers. We've had panel discussions in the classrooms that have acted as assessments. We've had debates of obviously acting. We've had role playing. All of this has acted as assessment. Ideas that we've gotten from AI at some point or the other. And of course, differentiated instruction is a very big area of interest for us as educators, especially in a country like India. We have 40 to 60 students in a classroom. Some schools have more than 60 in a classroom. A differentiated instruction would be impossible before the age of AI, but now it's something that we can actually look into. So all of these things can be done, but needs to be done in a planned way, in a planned manner, in a focused manner, and giving it some thought.
Thank you so much, Ronit, for that. I like the idea of not having the debates, having the panel discussion within the classroom setting. That's pretty cool idea. Let's move on to our last question, and let's hear Erin's perspective on this. In your view, how is the role of the educator changing in response to the integration of AI tools? And what kinds of mindsets, habits, and professional learning experiences are most essential to support our teachers in terms of navigating this transition successfully?
Yeah, it's such an important question. And I think, this idea of job loss, or really questioning the role of the educator, is something that educators broadly, and my team as well, have been grappling with. So if we embrace this, if we integrate this, what does it mean? How does that redefine our jobs? And so I think while our team, our office, has really embraced this idea of sort of a with AI mindset, this has been something that we have navigated with the team. And so I think something that has really helped is, and unexpectedly so, is this idea of, as a best practice when you're working with AI, the importance of maintaining human connection. So we're never blindly engaging AI and never having a professional's perspective in on that. So one example that I think has really helped the team move through this in the early days, when we're engaging Gen AI as a tool to help us provide feedback on work for students, we're still reviewing that feedback. We're still spot checking always the outputs that AI is providing. So I think that helps to preserve the sense of job security, and then really moving the team into that creative zone is exposure to examples. And I think a big thing that has helped for us is collaboration. So collaborating with other people, diverse others as well, with AI at the center. So you can start to think about outside the box ways of engaging AI. And so one of the ways that we're doing that right now, actually, is we've partnered with another unit who's been using generative AI tools in really neat ways. But we've come together to envision a new course that is fully soft skill development focused. And we're creating agents, AI agents, where students can learn leadership and teamwork skills by engaging with these agents. And I think that has been such a nice experience for my team to feel like they can walk alongside another partner who has the technical skill in AI that we don't necessarily have, to create something new and really impactful. So I think it's finding those opportunities to help the team feel supported and pushed, but with that support. And then I think another thing that we try and keep at the center of our work is the student voice and engaging the students as you're creating, as you're developing, and not losing touch with, how the activities are landing for them, and getting their feedback. We've got some really great ideas for how we can push ideas a little bit further from our students. And so I think, these are some of the really key ways that we can help teachers navigate this and demonstrate to them that their role is going to be longstanding. And, I talked earlier about managing that cognitive load, like making a lot of these big decisions about the way that we're crafting our learning has to land with us. And so I think helping them see that role really clearly through these examples, through these collaborative examples especially, has been something that's worked really wonderfully for our team.
That's great. Perfect. Thank you so much, Erin. Jacquie, working with teachers at Rosedale, what are your thoughts on this?
Well, I think that we, as at Rosedale, as we always do, is that we see this as a supportive tool, not a replacement tool, something that helps support the student learning. So how can they use it and integrate it into their daily curriculum and lesson planning? And so what do we do in the classroom to promote the use of the tool that promotes that collaboration, as Erin was saying, helping the students to talk together, and how to, using it as a tool to help develop a draft, and then to assess what the ChatGPT has given to you, and that helps in the self-reflection. So all of these things that are key to being to instructional development and lesson planning, and it's ongoing, but we have to help the teachers understand how to use it to support what's going on in the classroom. And so we emphasize the use of drafts and collaboration and the skills for self and peer assessments and those strategies. All of these things are integrated as instructional strategies in the Rosedale teacher development. And this is, it is provided for them and to use and to help them think out of the box and help them to use new tools in order to enhance student learning with AI. Thank you.
That's great. Thank you so much, Jacquie. As we learn in this whole this part of the discussion, I think that is just the support has to be there. The collaboration has to come. That concludes our discussion questions. Now I would like to invite our panelists to address questions from our audience. So what we will do is that we will open the floor to audience questions. So if you would like to ask a question, please kindly post your name and the name of your school in the chat. And what I will do is that I will call you on to directly on the live, open the camera, and then it says you will ask the question to any panelist. Of course, given our time constraint, we will limit the number of audience questions to 3. So please make sure that your camera and your mic, they both are ready. And also, please keep your question concise and relevant to today's discussion. Okay, so let's begin. So once again, please post your name and your name of your school in the chat if you're interested to ask a question for our panelists. So let's begin. And Chetan, you will help me track that first come, first serve? Okay, thank you.
Yes. Okay.
I think we should have allowed AI to ask questions. There are so many people who are attending with a AI helper.
As to transcribe, yep, that's to create the notes. So once again, so all we need is your name and the name of your institution, and we will be able to bring you as part of the session. So while I think that people are going to be looking at that option, how to do it. There was one question. So panelists, I'm going to ask at any one of you, you can address that. There was one question which came in Q&A. The question is that, do you think that open source AI tools give insight into student thinking, and what and how the students can use those AI tools for? So in terms of, I'm assuming that the question actually is more connected to the teacher. My apologies. So basically, can AI tools give insight into student thinking, and how the teachers can use those AI tools to their advantage as providing the feedback?
Very interestingly, I had been in Taiwan and some other countries, and I found that they were using a special software and a kind of hairband, where teacher was able to find out which child is not focused. So there was anyone who is not focusing properly. And this particular experiment helped teachers identifying who are the students whom we have to help them out after the lesson. And as per the analysis, particularly in China, they found it helped around 40% of the students to improve their grades. So teacher was able to identify.
Oh, that's interesting. Thank you, AP. Anybody else would like to add a comment to this?
I can jump in as well. Oh, go ahead, Ronit.
No, I'm not entirely sure what open source AI tools they're talking about in particular, but if there are any that they would like to name, I'd like to know some, because I feel like getting to know what students are using and what they're using it for would be a really great way to get insight. So I do agree with that. But again, it really depends on whether we as educators are getting access to how they're using AI, which again raises its own privacy concerns. So yeah, there are multiple ways to look at that. So that's just had a thought there. Erin wanted to say something, so.
Yeah, I think
you,
that
Ronit.
it's a great point, and that jumped out to me as well. You know, the original framing of the question around the student use, and I do think for the meaningful learning to occur, there is an important intersection with the educator there. But one thing that comes to mind for me, I'm trying to remember the specific words that were used in the question, but around how students can use these tools and to demonstrate their thinking. And I think one of the really neat evolutions that I've been seeing and that we're starting to work on at Waterloo right now is the use of Gen AI for reflection-based conversations or written reflective experiences. And so creating an agent essentially, or a bot that a student can interact with, that is prompting the student's reflection to go deeper and deeper. It is that adaptable, personalized experience, and the student is in the when you can do it in a verbal communication style, the student is on the spot for it. So you know there might be a concern that a student could on the side be using Gen AI to create an answer to the chatbot's response, but when it's a live verbal conversation, that isn't there. So you do get that authentic student response, and the AI is able to really personalize that and push the students' learning a little bit deeper. So that's a really exciting one that I think is coming out of open source tools. But again, it has to be integrated and really designed intentionally.
Thank you so much, Erin. I think that we have one. Sorry, let me just enable their camera. There's one question. There's another question which is on the chat as well. And I think that while I try to set up the cameras and the mic for one of our participants, another question which is there is, which is a very amazing question actually. Can AI be used to foster teacher-student relationship and develop moral and ethical values in students, which is partly missing in our new generations?
Awesome. There are questions in the chat box also. You can just take those questions too.
Oh, sure.
Can I, in the meantime, can I just have a go at the
Yes,
Gen
of
Z
course.
one?
Feel free to jump in. Thank
Right.
you,
So,
Ronit.
so the question asked, can AI be used? I think the better question is, should AI be used? Um, Honestly, there are certain areas, especially when it comes to fostering relationship, where any kind of AI and technology would hinder more than help. At least in like for me. A simple example is Chetan and I first met in Australia for a wonderful study tour that we've gone for. It's great to see him online, but actually meeting in person is a different animal altogether. And the same goes for all of you. I would love to have this opportunity to meet with all of you in person. It invites a kind of discussion. It invites the kind of relationship that is just not replicable. Same thing when it comes to moral and ethical values. I feel like leaving it to AI would be easy. It would make us feel like we've actually done something without uh, really taking steps towards moral and ethical development. Um, I would rather like what we focus on with Assurance Academy is we try to get our students to actually go out and do things with their hands and just whether it is as part of a service learning for the IB or in any other like in any other sphere. But there are certain areas where I feel like having children be online or having children be interacting with AI isn't necessarily the best tool to use. That's my personal take on it.
Thank you so much, Ronit. Anybody else would like to share?
Yes, I was just going to say, I think, Ron, that that whole conversation really shows how the differentiation in learning is so important, and that we address the student who sits in front of us and allow them to, use their visual, auditory, and kinesthetic learning and all, and what's important to them, and that helps them to self-reflect on their metacognition and how they learn best and what's important. So, thank you for that.
That's great. Thank you, Jacquie. Dr. Devedi, if you can enable your mic and your camera. So I made you as a presenter, so please feel free to jump in and ask a question for any panelist.
Hello.
Yes, sir, we
Hello.
Yes,
can
sir,
hear
we can
you.
hear you.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Really, it's nice to hear a lot of things from all of you. I'm so happy to be here the second time in this platform. Actually, what I mean to say is the AI actually can also help for identifying the pattern of the students' learning with the students' data, as well as the helpful for the teachers in academics by understanding analyzing the data. Second thing that personalizing also helpful in personalizing the attendance plan, as well as the some behavioral improvement can also be helpful with the help of AI. And then with the help of AI, we can also the student's profile and in summarized way, as well as some recommendation, intervention of the recommendation also possible with the help of family background and all. So this way, I am sure AI can be very good tool for the teaching learning process to make the classroom more effective. That is my point. Thank you so much.
That's great. Thank you so much, Dr. Devedi. One of the questions which I can see in the chat coming in that is how AI helps students to get good results in examinations.
Yeah, the AI can always help students to get good results only if they think that this is not the key. In India, there is a word for the the helping assistance and such kind of books is key. They should not consider that this is ultimate. And yes, there is some idea about that. And as we discussed before also, that this is a 24/7 friend. This is one friend you can rely, but not you can rely that he will appear in examination in place of you. You need to appear. So you can make a basic idea about that concept, and you can develop it further. But it will certainly improve the results. That's why we are discussing here. Result is not everything, but it develops certain kind of competencies which will be useful for you to improve your results.
Great point. Thank you so much, AP. Anybody else would like to jump in?
So we have a shy audience here, Asim.
I can see that the questions are coming in the chat. So
Yes. Yeah. So Cameron is here. I think you can invite him. He wanted to ask a question.
oh, okay. Let me invite him.
In fact, there is one more interesting question which has come from Miss Mariam Becky from Hope Qatar Center for Persons with Disabilities. The benefits of AI to special needs. So if somebody can take that question.
Yeah, during my stay in Qatar, I know about the Hope Qatar. They are really doing great job, and AI is a really very good tool because as Mr. Ronit and I think Erin also discussed about differentiated learning. And in differentiated learning, you can decide the pace, you can decide the area of interest and all. And I will not call them disabilities. I will call them that especially able children, and they can be helped very well because this is one tool which does not require assistance of an extra teacher. By giving a command, they can find the answer, they can find some idea, and it's of great use, especially if we talk about especially able person. And I'm happy that someone from Hope Qatar is asking this question because they are using it in Hope Qatar.
That's great. Thank you so much, AP. And I think that this area, I think that is having this accessibility. I think it's very, very important. Of course, that is have the education to be available to everyone. And I think that yes, I agree that this tool should be used and support in that area. As well. Kamran James from Pakistan, I made you as a presenter, one of the presenters, so please feel free to turn on your camera, turn on your mic, and ask your question for any panelist. All of them are ready. While Cameron looks for the, I think that he's just turning on the camera and turning on his mic. I just have a quick question for myself, actually, that in terms of the ethical use we're talking about in terms of, we did talk about, we spend a lot of time on in terms of ethical use. In terms of the students, my focus is in terms of the teachers, so that the teachers that who are using this tool to provide the feedback on the assignment. So like, for example, a teacher is uploading the assignment on ChatGPT or DeepL and asking for, do the marking for me, provide the feedback to this. So in terms of you being part of universities and part of schools or organizations, what do you think about that? What are your insights on that in terms of the ethical use from teachers' perspective?
I'm happy to jump in first here. I think this is such an important consideration when we're thinking about leveraging AI in our education. And I think it's a great opportunity and one that we've leaned into to teach our students about intellectual property and what it means to be adding content to a Gen AI platform. And not only, it's two ways, which I think is the really interesting thing, right? We don't want students uploading the instructor's content because that's their intellectual property, and vice versa. If, and we're not uploading currently students' assignments for grading, but if that were to happen, there's an expectation that permission would be asked of the student first. So, we are exploring this AI tool and opt in to having the AI tool provide feedback. The one space where we are having AI provide feedback right now is in the tool I mentioned earlier, where students are practicing their interview skills, and the feedback is generated for them based on that. And that all of the interactions and the way that the tool works and the type of feedback that they'll get and the inputs are explained to the students early on. So I think it's about clarifying for students what it means for them to interact with this tool, and being very transparent about the way that their data is being used, and what they can expect on the output of that.
Thank you, Erin. Anybody else? I was seeing Ronit. I think that you were. Any comments or insights?
No, I agree completely with that, and it's a quagmire, right? It's just something that we need to take into consideration about who owns what. I think if the school is large enough, and if you're able to build a database of your own of graded material, so that you can build a database of build the data of what grading looks like in your school. It should help matter, because then it's not going to a third, but then the new student material isn't going to a third party. But even then, student consent is a requirement, which I don't think anyone's taken for the previous batches. So you can't do it retroactively. It's going to be going forward. As for uploading in like private industry, like into Google or DeepL or ChatGPT, it's not something I'm very in favor of. It's something I've seen done. It's something that I've seen experimented on. I'm not very in favor of it. And again, the legal issue that may arise from there is a different headache that people need to be aware of. Like I said, in India, the DPDP Act has come in brand new. Indian schools need to be very aware of what the implications of that particular act on the schools. And I'm sure there are acts, similar acts all around the world. So schools just need to take that into consideration. Data privacy.
Thank you, Erin and Ronit. Excuse me. Another question which we have in the chat is, with education evolving rapidly, what do you think is more important to focus on, teaching students what to learn or how to learn, and why? Thank you, Madhuri, for the question.
So we have enabled her camera and mic. So Ms. Madhuri, you can go ahead. Ms. Madhuri, Nigam, or probably if any of the panelists can answer that, take up that question and answer that. I think Asim, it is Friday, and they are not suited booted like all of us as a presenter.
We'll give it a go. The curriculum exists for a reason. So what to study, what to learn is always going to be important. You can't just let students decide. I mean, you can let students decide what they want to learn, but at the same time, having structure is important for, I would assume, the vast majority of students. So that is going to be an important part of what schools do. At the same time, going forward, more important will be focusing on how to learn. So especially the entire conversation that we've had over the last hour and a half about teaching students about AI tools and the right, quote unquote, the right way to use AI critically. I think that's going to be more important in the time going forward. But I would always put weight behind the importance of a structured curriculum. It's always going to be important.
That's great. Perfect. Thank you so much, Ronit. Anybody else wants to put their feedback on that? we are almost at the end, so I think that I think this is the only. Yeah, these are all the questions that which I can see. Chitan, I didn't miss any question. Am I correct?
No, I think Gayatri D, there was one question from Gayatri. Gayatri, you would like to come and ask that question, or shall we take up that question? You have written that in the chat box. So she's asking, we were learning more about AI through this panel discussion. I have a question. Will AI affect the thinking and creative power of teachers as well as the students? So if somebody would like to take that. Let this be the last question, Asif.
Yeah.
It's a fear of mine. Frankly speaking, I always keep talking about it. I believe the mind is a muscle. If you don't use it to the fullest extent, there is a, what was that? Wasn't it a poem by Roald Dahl, Television? So actually, that's the perfect way to put it. The same fear that people had of television back in Roald Dahl's time is the fear that people have of AI now. That he said something about the mind rusting and freezing, and that's the same fear that people seem to have about AI. That the AI will lead to the mind rusting and freezing. I don't think that's something that can realistically happen unless you actively allow it to happen. The human mind is a wonderful thing. It's constantly working. It's even when you're not. So I wouldn't worry too much about the thinking and creativity part of students and teachers disappearing, but I would make it a point to be mindful of your usage of AI and ensure that you are putting your own human intelligence to the test every now and then, and not entirely relying on AI.
Thank you so much, Ronit, for that. As we come to the end of this rich and impactful discussion, I would like to thank all of our panelists for sharing their expertise. Thank you so much for joining us for this rich and timely discussion. Throughout today's panel, we have explored how AI like ChatGPT are reshaping the educational landscape, enhancing personalized learning, encouraging creativity, and deepening student engagement in ways that are more exciting and transformative. What has been made clear is that AI is here to stay. It's no longer a futuristic concept. It's a present reality influencing how we design learning, how we assess and understanding, and how we support every learner's unique journey. Today's conversation also reminded us that isn't about technology or just for technology's sake. It's about thoughtful integration guided by ethics, shaped by teaching pedagogy, and led by educators who see AI not as a threat, but as a partner in their work. So as we continue to redefine what teaching and learning looks like in AI-enhanced world, the role of educators become more vital, not less. So professional growth, ethical leadership, and intentional innovation will be the key to ensuring that these tools serves all learners in a meaningful way. So whether you are just beginning to explore these technologies or already applying them in your classroom, we really hope that today's session offered both inspiration and some kind of direction. So let's keep moving forward, curious, collaborative, and committed to shaping education for a world where AI is not only present, but purposeful. Once again, thank you to all of our panelists for your insights and to all of you for your thoughtful engagement. Lastly, I would like to end this discussion panel by expressing our gratitude to our partner, Skills Reform. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Without your collaboration, this session would not have been possible. So please kindly take a moment to complete our feedback survey. So I did posted the link in the chat. It helps us understand how these conversations are supporting your practice and how we can build on them in the future. Have a wonderful evening and have a wonderful weekend. Thank you so much.
Thank you